We're not only going to start off today with me standing up. We're going to start off today talking about USA basketball. A couple things about USA basketball that have really piqued my interest. Number one, the fact that LeBron James has become their closer. He's become the go-to guy in this Olympic Games, or not this Olympic Games, should I say, in the games leading up to the Olympic Games. They have had two close calls, one against South Sudan and one against Germany. Both times LeBron James has bailed them out. Why is this a good thing? Because LeBron James is a kind of guy who is used to making big plays down the stretch, and that kind of experience is invaluable when we talk about a situation like this. Also, the other countries, we talk about it a little later in this episode with John Tobias, they've kind of caught up. He talks about the last time an MVP, an American, won the MVP. We'll let you see that little stat, that little nugget, just to kind of get you informed on how much better the rest of the world has gotten. I can just say, off the top of my head, the Joker, you look at Giannis, and you look at Luka Doncic, they're the best players in the NBA pretty much. So the rest of the world has caught up. I would be ready for some dogfights for USA basketball this year. And don't talk about Derek White. Oh, he's somebody who's on the team. He might not be one of the best players in the country. USA basketball, they are assembling a team. Basically, they're building a team to win. In 2004 and in 2002, they assembled the best players in the country, or excuse me, in the NBA, and put them on their team, the best Americans, and it didn't work out. They lacked the continuity. All of that stuff is part of the thought process when they build these teams. I'm looking forward to these guys winning a gold medal. I don't think it's going to be easy, even more reason to watch. So, yeah, I look forward to that. Coming up first, Natalie Kalibat Whitten. She is a swimming and diving expert. We're talking a little bit about the Olympics. She also is an expert on just about every other sport. Really cool conversation to have with her. Check it out. Natalie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Where, by the way, looks like are you in Florida? What part?
I am. Yeah, I'm in South Florida, Miami specifically. So it's nice and humid. It rained a little bit not too long ago. You know, just typical Miami weather in July. Super hot and, just on and off raining all day. So, but I love it. Super happy to be here.
You're used to it. You're a New Jersey girl. I'm from Philadelphia, right outside.
Yeah.
So not that far from Princeton, New Jersey. That's where you grew up, right?
Yeah, not too far at all. It's hard when you're from Princeton, New Jersey. It's kind of in the middle of the state. People ask you, were you a New York fan, a Philly fan, a little bit of both? Like, how did you figure that out? And it's a tough question to answer, just because, being right there, how do you determine that?
Well, so okay, let's go. That begs a follow-up question here. Who do you roll with?
Yeah, so my family, we were Devils fans on the hockey side of things. New York Yankees fans for baseball. Eagles fans for football.
All
we
right.
would go to a lot of Eagles games. Yep, fly Eagles fly. So we've been pumped about how the Eagles have been doing. But yeah, kind of like a little bit of a mix of everything. Kind of dipping in a lot of different areas for that. But yeah, I mean, never a dull moment when you're in the Northeast with sports.
And by the way, your whole family's Division I athletes, and that's super impressive. So clearly you guys know sports. And we could talk about the Eagle soaring, but I'm going to do a little bad transition here and talk about you splashing. As a youngster in 2012, not really a young woman anymore. I mean, you're growing up. I guess you're 18 at this time. You're diving at Princeton, and you get the opportunity. You earn the opportunity for the Olympic trials. Now, for some people who don't know, it is a team sport, diving and swimming teams, but there's an individual aspect of that I can never relate to. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? The pressure that comes with the process of working your way towards being an Olympian or trying to be one?
Yeah, it's super interesting. Swimming and diving collegiately is put together, even though they're so different. They couldn't be any more different. Swimming is endurance, it's speed, it's a time. Whereas diving, it's very much so, like you said, it's very individualized. It's a mix between like gymnastics and dance, and there's kind of like an acrobatic movement when you leave the springboard or the platform and you want to make as little splash as possible. But it's interesting when you're on a collegiate swimming and diving team coming together as one and almost relying on yourself to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, because you need to score points for your team, the swimming and diving team as a whole. So kind of coming together, it's an interesting sport, but it was really fun competing collegiately. I dove at USC in Los Angeles and loved every minute of it. The men and women that I competed with and just on the team with were absolutely amazing. But yes, to answer your other question about qualifying for Olympic trials, there's so much that goes into it. And just leading up to it, having to compete at the national level and place at the national level multiple times. There are degree of difficulty requirements. My event was the 10-meter synchronized, and that's the tallest platform, so it's 32 feet. And I had a synchro partner. So you have to have a certain amount of dives that you do and a certain amount of positions, and they have to equal a certain amount of degree of difficulty, which is basically a complex way of saying they have to be hard dives.
Yeah.
You can't just do a front dive and a back dive. No, you're doing 3.5s, you're doing twisters, all kinds of directions. And yeah, it was interesting. My synchro partner was from Pennsylvania and I was from New Jersey. So we met in Maryland to train. So
How do you find a synchro partner like that at that age?
yeah, it's funny, like her coach approached my coach and was like, I think Natalie and Ashley would be really good paired up because they dive very similarly on their own. And we tried it out. It worked, competed in trials, and the rest is history. So sometimes it's almost like a matchmaking process,
Yeah.
but but no date involved. Just a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears.
How much time do you spend with your partner as far as like you almost, in sync, right? Obviously you're in sync, but you have to almost be connected, right? How do you get there?
Yeah, honestly, it is so much training. The more training you can have together, the more, I guess out of the water time you can have together to bond. You almost don't want it to be so like taxing mentally. Like every time you see each other, it's all about being up on 10-meter and training and, going through the motions of all your dives. So we had a good balance of doing some fun things outside of the pool, as well as all the training, because I mean, the more you train, the more you compete, the better you're going to be, especially when it comes to diving and all the muscle memory and, training your mind. Diving is very mental. I compare it a lot to like pitching or being a quarterback. Like a lot falls on your shoulders and, you almost, what to do. You just have to shut your brain off a little bit. Because sometimes when your brain's working too much, that's not good.
No, it's not good at all. That I call it the dark passenger. You try to keep that, as quiet as possible in all sports, right? It's almost like, what are you doing with yourself, with your brain? You hear softball coaches talk about it in the 5 seconds before you step into the batter's box. So you're up there 32 feet up, competing at an elite level, whether it's at USC or in the Olympic trials. What goes through your head before you take that leap?
Yeah, I think my coaches would always give me 1, 2, or 3 corrections at a time, and it would be solely focusing on that. Keeping it simple, taking a deep breath, trusting my body that I know what to do. We do a lot of just not even in the water. We call it dry land, and it's a lot of, flips on the ground, dry belt, trampoline, a lot of abs, a little bit of everything. So it's almost when you get into the competition mode, it's like, okay, I've done these dives 1,000,001 times. You do a dry simulation on the ground, focus on those 3 corrections, and you just get up there and you go. It's as simple as that. I know it sounds pretty crazy.
It is crazy, by the way, but the more you can simplify it, the easier it is for you as the performer. You talk about performance now. You have these swimming and diving teams for the United States. They're headed to Paris, where some are probably already there. You know better than me. They probably all are there. What is the mood around these teams headed into the Olympics in Paris?
I think super fired up. I've talked to actually a lot of the swimmers and divers, and they have this excitedness, but also we got to get down to business type of an attitude. And I think on the swimming and diving side, this time around, I mean, for swimming, I'd say a word to describe the roster would be deep. I mean, we've got a lot of former Olympians, big names, Katie Ledecky, Caleb Dressel, Ryan Murphy, people coming up the pipeline. On the diving side of things, we've got a lot of veterans that are coming back. Jessica Parado, Delaney Schnell, Andrew Capobianco, Cassidy Cook, divers that have that Olympic experience. And then we've got some young divers who are doing big things like Carson Tyler. He became the first male diver since Mark Ruiz back in 2000 to qualify on 2 individual events. So, it will be his first Olympic Games, but I mean, it just goes to show you the promise on the diving side in the future as well. You've got the former Olympians that are competing this time around, then a guy like Carson, who the sky's the limit, not only this Games, but after, as he pushes for LA and beyond.
Do you know anything about their travel, about how that regimen, how that goes, like if they're there already or when they got there?
They're all there.
Okay.
I believe they got there 2 days ago, and it looks like a lot of them are exploring the village and the Eiffel Tower, and kind of getting their sightseeing out as they can, because I know they don't show up there and it's vacation. They're showing up, they're practicing, and they're getting a feel for things, and then the opening ceremonies are on Friday and the action starts immediately. So it's almost like having a little bit of fun, taking it all in. I know getting all the outfitting was really big. Team USA, Ralph Lauren, like all the really good swag. So it looks pretty good. I'm kind of jealous. I don't know, watching it all from here.
You mentioned that is probably quite the tightrope, right? Let's enjoy it. This is a memorable experience, but we've got to stay all business. What is there any aspect of swimming and diving or any other aspect of Paris that you are most revved up about?
Honestly, all of it. I think with the Olympic Games, all the stories of all these athletes, I think is absolutely incredible. And that's, as a broadcaster, as a journalist, I mean, that's my favorite part, just seeing all these athletes coming together from all the different sports, all the different backgrounds, and competing as one and for our country. I think there can't be more pride in that than anything else. So I don't know, it's a lot of emotion. I did a lot of interviews with some of the divers leading up to the Games, and it's the biggest part for them is like, okay, I want to embrace the moment, but I also want to enjoy it because this is a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
Some of these athletes, they make it to different Olympic Games, but some of them, this might be their only one. So it's like really embracing the moment and enjoying coming together. And a lot of them said opening ceremonies was what they were really looking forward to, being, seeing LeBron James, like just coming together with all these awesome athletes, and even Snoop Dogg. I mean, I'm seeing Snoop Dogg everywhere, and I'm like, that would be kind of fun, hanging out with Snoop a little bit if you can.
It would be awesome. So you mentioned you talk to some of these divers, talk to some of these swimmers. Your podcast, Diving in Deep, I'm sure you take the opportunity to engage with them and talk about the Games, like you mentioned. Any stories, anybody, anything particular jump out at you as these athletes prepare for, what you would have to imagine is the biggest moment of their lives?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, first of all, I created this podcast because I love diving so much. I just love the sport. I did it for so many years. I just want to be a part of it completely, all the time, especially with the Olympics. I have a passion for the Olympic Games, and just being able to talk about diving, talk to these athletes, talk to these coaches who not too long ago I was on a pool deck with. It's hard to believe, Jessica Parado, for instance, one of the divers competing in the games. I mean, her and I would compete together all the time, and it's just so fun to watch her, her quest for her third Olympic Games. But yeah, as you mentioned, the stories are endless. But I have to say, one that jumps out to me was talking to Matt Scoggin. He's one of the coaches on Team USA this time. It's his 5th time as a coach, and he's been to the Olympics before as an athlete. So his 6th Olympic Games, which is crazy to think. I mean, like I mentioned, some people only get to do this once.
Yeah, and you have to approach it like it might be your only time. But you could be back 6 times. You could be Dan Marino with one opportunity in the Super Bowl and you lose, or you could be Tom Brady. You don't know.
Exactly. So Matt was talking about one of the divers that qualified, Allison Gibson, who Matt is the coach at Texas, and Allison dove at Texas. And he just talked about the story of finding Allison. And I thought it was so cool. She was on the other end of the pool swimming. She was in a kick set, and he just noticed things about her that he felt that would be really good for diving. And, she approached him after a practice, and it was almost like it was meant to be that she switched from swimming at that moment and moved into diving, and then dove collegiately, had a fantastic college career with Texas and Matt. And then here they are a few years later in Paris and competing. So I think the stories are endless. It's so fun to just hear them and, see Matt's emotions when he's talking about Allison and her background. And here they are, about to compete in the games together. I just think is really special.
All right, I got one more question about the games for you, then we'll get into some other stuff. We talk about the Olympics. Outside of the pool, what are you most excited for? What sport are you most excited to take in? You mentioned you have a flavor for the Olympics. It comes across. Is there something certain outside of the pool that has you excited?
Probably gymnastics. I always love watching gymnastics in the Olympic Games. And I'm not going to lie, just all the Olympic trials going on. I mean, I just couldn't help but watch a little bit of everything, just because I'm a sports fanatic.
Yeah.
Like you, we find a way to just totally be immersed in it. But I would say gymnastics. I'm really pumped. Super excited.
Your decorated career as a diver has you so set up, right, to be an analyst for ESPN, talking about swimming, talking about diving. You mentioned lacrosse. You do work with James. I could read it forever, the laundry list of stuff that you're able to, you mentioned, provide insight on. I did not know that you were the color analyst for FIU football.
So I called a game last fall, and I looked to do some sideline, college football sideline this season. So, it's just that crazy time where as sports broadcasters, we just really don't get a break or sleep, right? Like the Olympics are happening. College football media days are going on. So we're trying to, keep tabs on a little bit of everything. It's funny. I was on one of the local TV stations earlier today doing an interview talking about the Olympics, and, I'm preparing for that. And I also have the American Conference Media Day on in the background. It's just like, are you a sports broadcaster if you're not doing all that?
Yeah, exactly, right? No, there's so much information we can take in now. Like if I have a Kansas State football game and I go for a jog or a walk on a trail, and I don't have a podcast pumping legitimate factual information into my ears, sometimes I feel like I'm not preparing as best I could, which is a good thing, I think. I think fear can be a little bit of a tailwind. You know that as a prominent athlete, but you don't want to be consumed by it, but also it's nice to have the motivation. But there is always something that you can be consuming, right?
Always. And that's the crazy part about it, is like there's almost like you can never do too much prep. Yeah. And I love the prep, but sometimes you do need to just shut it off and unwind a little bit.
The preparation gives me confidence, but I've learned to what you're saying. Like, look, man, there's going to be a lot of stuff I'm telling myself that you're just not going to use, and that's all good. Don't wrestle over it. Don't try to jam something in a part of a broadcast, right? What has been your favorite experience in this second act for you as you flourish as a broadcaster, as a podcaster?
Oh gosh, I have to pick one.
You got to pick. Well, you got to pick one. You can pick two if you want.
Oh my gosh, so out of college, I started in local news as a sports reporter and anchor, and I felt like that first year in the industry, I kind of almost like left diving a little bit because I was so focused on starting my career and working locally and kind of getting my feel for things. But it was almost instantaneous after that. I just kind of found my way back on the pool deck broadcasting, and it's picked up quite a bit with covering a lot of the conference championships, dual meets, tournaments. So it's been fun to see how much broadcasting of the sport that I love the most that I've been able to acquire almost, if that makes sense. But I also love everything I'm doing. I love being immersed in all sports, softball, baseball, basketball, lacrosse, football. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out, but yeah, just pretty much doing everything. Hockey. Any sport, I'm game, and
and you go home and your husband's the baseball coach for FIU.
Yeah. That's right. So I can't really escape it. Yeah, it's a crazy world, but yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Do you guys ever get a chance with both your busy schedules and constant preparation? Are you watching anything on TV? Any Netflix? Anything on Apple? Anything like that?
You know what's so funny and random is we've just been watching some like Hard Knocks. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
We've been watching the Dolphins Hard Knocks just so randomly. And and he goes, this reminds me of what I do every day. He's like, Natalie, I know you don't see me in my office, but like, this is what I'm doing. I'm on the phone. I'm doing this, doing that. The college baseball, college athletics has changed so much and so drastically. And I know you know that, but it's just really, really, it's almost turned into a professional sport. So it's kind of, I just love watching anything sports related. So
yeah, I'm big on like Hard Knocks, any kind of 30 for 30 documentary. And it's kind of at some point, you know, I just finally embraced Natalie. I said, look, this is what I love. I don't care. My girlfriend can tell me for the 100th time that I'm a weirdo for watching like a football life on the NFL Network. It's just the way it is, and that's what I enjoy. So I'm not going to masquerade anymore. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, I'm just gonna throw it on because that's what I love, you know. But movies are good, but sports are better. So I like watching anything sports related.
I'm in the middle of Presumed Innocent right now. I got one more show. I'm enjoying that. So it's on Apple TV.
You got to give me some show recs because I need
Presumed Innocent on Apple TV. You guys will love it. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
All right, and Natalie Kalibat Whitten, I thank you so much for taking the time and imparting some of your wisdom on us today. You're a good hang too. So I really appreciate you taking the time. I look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. You know where to find me.
Yeah, maybe you never know. As the football schedule comes out, basketball, who knows what else, maybe I'll have a chance to work with you, and that would be great.
That would be awesome. I'd like that a lot.
All right, well, you take care. I really appreciate it, Natalie. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Pete.
John Tobias, I've known you for 20 years now. It'll be 20 years in, I think, probably September. And you have.
Oh, wait a minute. So there's no introduction to the Pete Souza show?
I'll do that. I'll do that. We go right into this conversation.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, sorry about that.
No. We're going to leave all this in. And yeah, no. So This is what, and I'll get to exactly what you do. Don't worry. We're going to get to your decorated career right now, and your work not only as a professor at UNC-Charlotte. Let's just do it right now. You work as a statistician for ESPN and Strength in Numbers, which we're going to talk about. Right? You have put your fingerprints all over changing the game as far as who is getting access now and opportunities to work in the sports industry. I want to get to strength in numbers, but right now you're in a hotel in Greenwich, Connecticut. You're there because NBC put you there because you're working on Olympics coverage. Is this your fourth Olympics?
This is my fourth one, and not to correct you, but I'm actually in the NBC studios right now.
Oh, you are?
I am. I was able to find like a little meeting room. So like, just for you. So here we are.
Live from New York. It's John Tobias. I mean, you're in that same building.
There you go. Absolutely.
All right. So explain to people a little bit, because I think people get a real kick out of this, and you're really an essential part of the coverage. What are you doing for NBC Sports during this Olympic Games?
So fortunate enough, this would be my fourth Olympics, and I'm very, very grateful because I just remember back in 2012 when I was just more or less just banging on doors, just trying to get my foot in the door, because that was really like an ultimate goal of mine. And, I was able to get it. Side note, an FYI to everyone else, like 90% of like the success that I've had has been just me being very persistent. So just food for thought for anyone else, like, that old cliche, good things come to those that wait. But in my opinion, great things come to those that go out and get it. And, I'm just like a living witness, and I'm no different than anyone else. But back to your original question, no, I'm here. This is my fourth Olympics, and my job as a statistician is to sit beside the talent, i.e., the play-by-play and broadcaster, in color analyst, no matter the sport, and I help give them information to convey to the TV audience, whether that's verbally, to whether they say it or whether you see it like at the bottom of the TV screen. Obviously, in this business, we call the lower third. So that's what I'm doing. So really looking forward to doing it.
Now, you got some pretty crazy hours. What are you looking at as far as your schedule is concerned over the course of the next few 2-3 weeks?
It's going to be early in the morning, like around 3 a.m. to like around 8 or 9 or so. And then it gets better because the first is going to be archery. And then the second week is going to be sports climbing. Little known fact, sports climbing was brought into the Olympics in Tokyo. So the 2021 Olympics. So this is really just the second Olympics to where sports climbing will be an actual sport to where people can medal. So that will be more or less the second week. But week one, it's all about archery, baby. All about archery.
How do you prepare for this, JT? I mean, I know how I prepare. Let's say I have a soccer game that I'm not too familiar with, the sport of soccer. How do you get ready for – I mean, this is the Olympics now. Are they going to have sport climbing for what? I guess the second time, right?
Right. No, great question. Research. No different than you, and really no different than anyone else, no matter what type of industry or genre they're in. It's all about due diligence. And I think that the more you prepare and the more you research, the better that you will be at your craft. So just had a meeting actually about an hour ago with the play-by-play person for archery, Jen Hildreth.
Oh, no way.
Yep, Jen's going to be doing archery. She's going to be doing soccer, women's soccer. But I'm going to be with her for archery. So had a meeting with her, the color analyst, the producer, and then the two researchers that are going to be on board to help, give out any type of historical data and facts, to where it's really kind of like a well-oiled machine, to where we all work in a very congruent way. So we did it about an hour ago, and yeah, again, just continue to just meet and prepare, and just look at any type of milestones that may happen, and try to really put on a good show for the TV viewers, the consumers.
I perked up when you mentioned you're working with Jen Hildreth. That's a buddy of yours who you've worked with for many years now. Were you excited to see that she was the one you're going to be working with? Very,
because I think that Jen is the consummate professional. I was very fortunate to work with her last year, with the Women's World Cup. She lives in the South just like I do. So we do a lot of ACC and SEC games, more or less like with soccer. And she's just really good at what she does. She's one of the best. So anytime you get an opportunity to work with one of the best, again, no matter the industry, you really want to make sure that you prepare and do well for them. Because if not, you're doing a disservice to you as well as to the play-by-play person as well. So no extra pressure though, Pete, but in a couple of days, this is where we're going to get rolling.
So you mentioned your work as a statistician, obviously at ESPN, CBS, NBC right now. You're a professor at UNC-Charlotte, where you basically created a curriculum there. But you started Strength in Numbers. And that's where you and I came together, got a chance to see each other again last week in New York City. That was the third and final free summer camp for these kids. And I want to give it right to you. What is Strength in Numbers? What were these kids able to experience, and what's the idea behind Strength in Numbers?
Okay, so let me first tell you about like you said, the idea, like the genesis. So, I've been a statistician for a long time, primarily, with ESPN. And again, a lot of times people really don't know, even if you're a sports fan, what a statistician does. So again, if you walk into a press box or a TV booth, more or less, TV booth for football, or if you're at the scorer's table for basketball, you have the color analyst, you have the play-by-play person, and you have the statistician like right beside that person. So that's essentially what I do. My job is to give information, in real time, to the broadcasting team, to really make sure that they're able to convey really good information to the TV audience. But how we got to, Strength in Numbers, the nonprofit, is that I've been doing this for like a long time. And as long as I've been doing this, I've only seen one other African-American male that does the same exact thing that I do on a full-time basis. He was based out of Seattle. Now he's based in LA now, Chris Taylor.
Yeah.
And I've only seen, there are only two women that do this primarily like full-time for the most part. And to this day, shockingly, no Hispanics. But, when I say that, I always like to say and put in kind of like a disclaimer to where this is not me saying anything derogatory about ESPN, Fox, CBS Sports, NBC, to where like there's any type of discrimination. I don't think that at all. I just came to the realization, Peter, where there are a lot of underrepresented groups that have a little bit of affinity when it comes to sports and data. They have no idea that these positions exist. They have no idea. Not just my position, but like a lot of other positions, they have no idea. So it first starts with awareness, simple awareness. And a lot of times they just don't have the resources to find out about these jobs. So what I did was I just created, a nonprofit called Strength in Numbers, because, that old cliche, back in old days, it takes a village, which is very true. No matter the gender, no matter the race, it takes a village. And I really wanted to make sure that I had 3 camps all throughout the country. So one that represents the South, Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live, one in Los Angeles to represent the West Coast at USC. By the way, the one in Charlotte is at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, where I teach. And then in New York City at Columbia University. And then I also really wanted to make sure that it was free, because you can have like a lot of parents to where their kids check off all the boxes. They do great in school. They handle themselves very well. But if a camp costs $1,000 or $1,500, which plenty of them do, and they don't have the resources, well, they're out of luck. Well, I wanted to make sure that all of the camps were like absolutely free, to where there were no financial barriers, free lunch, free snacks. Just come if you have a desire to like learn more and meet people in the industry. So that's how that came about. And we just finished wrapping up our 3rd summer. And I would definitely say that this has been like the best summer yet in terms of like all-time high in terms of attendance for Charlotte, and all-time high in attendance for LA as well, and really good representation with New York City. So I'm very proud. Great to have guest speakers, especially legends like Pete Souza. That's always good. So again, it's been a great experience, and I find it very gratifying. It's my purpose in life. It is my purpose in life for sure. A lot of times it takes a while for them to figure out, their passion and their purpose in life. I've found my passion obviously in sports, but this is my true purpose in life, and I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense that it's your true purpose, because watching you do it, you work like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. You truly do, and you don't stop. So, and it makes sense when you say that, right? To me, even somebody who's close to you, like, oh yeah, like that's the ultimate motivator, right? Is that like, that's your purpose. And to know your purpose in life, a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that gift, to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Absolutely. No, 100%. And again, like sometimes it takes a while. And then sometimes, it's kind of like, explained to you in a way, but it's really kind of up to us whether we want to like hear it or not. but
Yeah.
I heard it like a while ago, and I really, decided to just really take the bull by the horns. But again, it would not be possible without, great people. Again, what makes this camp is not just, the guest speakers, because the guest speakers come, but it's not like, let's say, like a dog and pony show to where you have guest speakers, they come and then they like leave. No, they're like group activities. There's projects, whether it's like a mock NBA draft, whether it's like something like regarding First Take, to where like, if you're debating, do you have the data to like support, like your argument? Even like with the esports industry, like, again, there's a lot of learning. How I look at things, even like the way I teach, I think that if you have the combination of being a good educator, but at the same time, the students are being entertained and they're like thoroughly like learning and they're entertained at the same time, that's when I think that you have like really, really quality work at stake to where you can really convey. And that's what I do, teaching, at UNC-Charlotte, and also like with my camps as well. So again, it's a tremendous blessing for sure.
So you just wrapped up your third year of camp. Most recently, just taking a look back at this summer, what do you feel like you're accomplishing with these camps? You go ahead, you can take a sip of water. Don't worry about it. It's your world.
Okay, it was Fanta soda, but thanks. What do I feel like I'm accomplishing?
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean it's awareness. Like I have a theory on things. First, it starts with simple awareness, because you don't know what you don't know. So it starts with awareness, and then when you are aware, then you can say to yourself, you know what? Not only did I not know, that this industry existed, this is something I think I may want to do now. At first I wanted to major in business or like accounting or philosophy. This is what I want to do now. So again, having that type of impact, I think is very important. So it starts with awareness, which then leads to access, because I'm a firm believer that I know for a fact that access creates opportunity. So again, there's a pattern to this. Awareness, which leads to access, and access leads to opportunity. That's what's helped me, and that's what I think that's helped many others in the past. So yeah, just starting with the awareness part to get people like really rolling and really just causing them to just recalibrate in terms of like things that they did not maybe know existed, but now they want to do now.
Well, let's talk about too. I love talking about our man Kevin Seabury. That is an immediate impact that Strength in Numbers has had on major network television and the industry, as far as underrepresented people being able to do the role of either a stats guy for a play-by-play guy like myself, or a spotter for a play-by-play myself. Talk a little bit about Kev, his integration last year, and now the experience that he has to share with other underrepresented people, where, hey, he's a living, breathing example of how this whole thing, Strength in Numbers, and how it can pump people out into society to do these jobs.
Right. The thing about it is with Kevin is that Kevin was never like part of like the camp. Kevin and I first met because he was one of my students at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. He was taking my sports analytics class. And, we maintain a relationship. He's also like a member of, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, which is also the same fraternity that I'm in. And he just made it very clear that this is something that he wanted to do. He wanted to work in sports. This was like his dream. He grew up in the Raleigh area, and this is something that he wanted to do. But again, it's not possible for these people to get opportunities if it wasn't for other people. That's why I say it takes a village. So the great Carter Blackburn, play-by-play for CBS Sports, he happened to be looking last year for the role of a spotter. And what a lot of people don't know what a spotter is. Spotter is a very, very essential position when it comes to football. So you're also right beside the play-by-play person on the other side. So whenever there's like a play in terms of like who ran the ball, who made the tackle, who made the strip sack, there's like a board where you have to point to make sure like, okay, this is the person who made the tackle, this is the person who made the strip sack, the interception, who took it to the house, everything. You have to make sure that you're like very, very, very sharp. There was a position available. So I ended up talking to Carter about it, and I asked him, I says, hey, I have a person that I think that would be really, really ideal. And, would you be open to like giving him a shot? And, again, Carter's been doing this for a long, long time. Carter has done, NCAA like men's basketball tournament. He's done a lot. He's done bowl games. And
NFL and CBS.
Yes. Carter's a friend. He's a friend, and he's great at what he
And sidebar, you have worked for Carter, so you've established trust with him.
Absolutely. I consider Carter family, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's, that's what you find out about like this business. You end up like cultivating a lot of cool relationships. But no, what happened is, and he said that, yes, he would be open to it. So, last year, Kevin was very excited. Kevin ended up, flying to Louisiana to do a game. I think it was a Louisiana Tech, I want to say. And in Ruston, Louisiana. And that's how things got started. He ended up doing like a full football package. And he's going to be doing it again like this year, like he's part of like CBS Sports, like essentially. And again, like things like that, it's really, really good. And guess what? He's like one of only 2 spotters, African-American spotters, well, no, 3 now, in the entire country. I did not say in the South. I did not say in the West, in the entire United States. And a lot of times when you see things like that, even when it comes to like being a statistician, it is problematic. Again, this is not a referendum on any particular network. It's just that a lot of people that are part of an underrepresented group, they don't know that these positions exist. And then another thing I think it's really important for me to say, Pete, is that this is not taking opportunities from one particular group. Not at all. It's just giving the same opportunities to other underrepresented groups. That is all that is.
And let's talk about too your investment in this. What met Kevin in Shreveport and ultimately Ruston, and we did the game kind of together. He kind of shadowed me. You paid for his flight. You put him there. I didn't have a game that week. It was like really cool how it came together. And like you mentioned, the access and the opportunity he had, it was really cool just to watch him pick it up pretty quickly. And, these jobs, it's not like anybody can do them. You have to know the game. You have to have a calmness about you. Like when the bullets start flying, right, things can get crazy. I certainly have made my share of mistakes spotting.
Yes.
It's really hard to do.
Oh, 100%, without question. And again, because you made a good point, because like I said before, your job as a spotter is to make sure that you identify like the right person. So like, let's say, for example, let's say a Patrick Mahomes, through like a touchdown pass, okay? And, you point down that it was Travis Kelce who made a touchdown catch, but it was really, Clyde, like the running back. But like the play-by-play guy says to where millions of people can hear, touchdown by Travis Kelce. But, but instead it was Clyde, the running back out of LSU. Like, no, everybody will find that out. And, people will go ahead and go on Twitter, this play-by-play guy sucks, or this play-by-play, young lady, she sucks. But it was really the spotter who identified the wrong person. So to your point, that it is a very, very important position. But at times it can be very sophisticated. You may think that it's easy, but no, you have to really like understand like the game for sure.
All right, as strength in numbers continues to grow, to gain even more momentum, there's now relationships with major college football leagues, with major pro sports leagues, teams. Can you elaborate a little bit on that and shine a light on what's happening there? Because that absolutely. To me is like, what a foundation, No,
absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up. And I'll go over it quickly, because the thing about it is that these camps more or less represent like high school students, but at the same time, you have to like look at other like demographics, like age demographics. So like you have to ask yourself, okay, what kind of opportunities can we give college students that are like right in the mix, whether they're like underclassmen, upperclassmen, but they're going to be graduating in a couple of years. So a gentleman by the name of Pat McFarland, who works for the Philadelphia Phillies, he reached out to me a couple of years ago because he saw an article in the Boston Globe that was written about the lack of, minorities in sports analytics. And I was one of the ones that happened to be featured. And he said, hey, like, what can we do? Let's try to collaborate. And I said, you know what? There's no opportunities, for like college students. So we both thought of a really good idea to where the Phillies would end up giving a 2-month project to members of SWAC schools, whether that's Alcorn State, Jackson State, Texas Southern, to where they would be given like a 2-month project to where they would break down a project regarding like business analytics and also on-field analytics, where, whether it's like, pitching or like the weather, anything like along those lines. And the cool thing about it is, number one, students get experience, number one. Two, they're on these, MLB teams' radar, because otherwise they would not know who they were, for the most part. And again, like number three, like they have an opportunity to really, really get a chance to get tangible experience. Not everybody can put that on the resume, for sure. And one of the gentlemen that happened to like be a part of that, he's now working for the Detroit Tigers affiliation. So again, doing things like that. We've also done things for the Detroit Lions as well. Same exact concept. They wanted to do something for just local colleges in the Michigan area. So that's, University of Michigan, Dearborn, Wayne State, Mercy. And again, some of these kids have really, really thrived. And, we have like a couple more. I don't think I'm at liberty to say yet.
Yeah.
I think that their PR people would kill me. So I want to maintain a good relationship. So hopefully that will change like in the next, like month or so. But no, I mean, it's giving like, college students an opportunity as well. So again, we just want to keep that going and make it a level playing field for everybody.
All right, I wanted to ask you, let you out here with some, not quite a speed round, but I want your thoughts on some stuff that's going on with sports. I know you're there to cover the Olympics or help with the Olympics coverage. LeBron James, 39 years old. I thought going into these games, and we're not there yet, but we certainly have seen this team sort of come together and their identity is being carved out as to who they might be. Are you surprised to see him become the go-to guy for this USA basketball team? We've seen it now 2 games in a row where he has kind of bailed them out down the stretch.
Yes, I am surprised, but I'm surprised in a good way. I mean, because to your point, the game against Germany, he was the leading scorer. He had 20 points. Petey had 20 points in 18 minutes. Like out of all of the starters, like he probably played like the least minutes, but like he balled. I mean, so 20 points in like 18 minutes. I mean, so he was great. Obviously, the game against South Sudan, he was great. I'm surprised because again, what he's been doing, it's no different, Pete, than what he's been doing the past couple of years. He's doing things that we've never seen before. LeBron's going to be 40 in December. So yes, we've seen other players play when they get like a certain age, whether it's Kobe, Kareem, but not at this level.
Yeah.
Not at this level. I mean, this is supposed to be like the 12 best players, that the United States more or less represents. I mean, some may question, with Derek White, but Derek White is still like a really good player, just won a championship. But no, what he's doing is revolutionary. We've never seen this before.
No.
So again, I think that is great and salute to him.
And you mentioned a guy like Derek White. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know you said speed round, so it took me a little longer to answer that.
We're taking our time, but I just want to hit you with some quick sports questions. You talk about Derek White. I think that look, it's tough because you have to put together a team, an effective team. That's where USA Basketball got in trouble in 2004 and 2002 at the World Championships, and then Jerry Colangelo's involved and Mike Krzyzewski's involved. That's the idea. We're putting together a roster, not an all-star team of the best players in the league.
Right. No, I totally agree, 100%. So, and again, that's not throwing shade to Derek White. I mean, You just said it. Like, Derek White's a really good player. But in its totality, to answer your original question about LeBron, yes, I am surprised, pleasantly surprised. But again, what he's been doing in the past several years, we've never seen before. So he just keeps on cooking.
What he does keep cooking. And again, like we said, he had to cook down the stretch in those 2 recent wins they've had. What are your thoughts on what this team has shown, especially in those close calls against Germany and South Sudan?
Well, I think a better question would be, is really about the other teams. Like the other teams in the other countries, like clearly they've caught up with us. I mean, that goes without saying, And me, me, I'm a numbers guy because a lot of times people have opinions, but it's all about, okay, well, can you back it up with facts? Well, sure. Okay, here they come. All right. So number one, if you think about it, even like with the NBA, Pete, like the last time an American led the league in scoring in NBA, it was Steph Curry. It was 2020, 2021 season. Like that's the last time. But how about, here's an even bigger stat, and this is a fact more or less, is that that the last time, take a guess, the last time an American won NBA MVP. Like take a wild guess. Don't go too crazy like 10 years ago.
Russell Westbrook.
No, but tell me the year.
Oh, the year? I'll say 20.
Because we're in 2024 right now.
I'm going to say 2019.
Okay, you're close. James Harden, 2018.
Oh, okay.
That's the think about that. This is the National Basketball Association, where it's primarily dominated by American athletes. It's been like that forever, But the last time, Pete, that an American won the NBA MVP was James Harden, 2018. Since then, it's either been Giannis, it's either been the Joker, or it's been Joel Embiid. Like, that's it. Yeah. None of those guys were born in the States. So again, it just lets also, was an American drafted? Like, The first pick in the NBA draft, this past draft? Nope.
Yeah.
What about 2023? Nope.
Yeah.
So again, like it's the other countries that's really, really catching up. And it's really not a shoo-in that we're going to win compared to the women. I still think that, with the women's game is that I still think that, because you know how it used to be, you just used to be just like amateurs.
Yeah.
You didn't professionals until like 1992, with the Dream Team. I think with the women, if they just had just like their college basketball players, our college basketball players, Juju Watkins, Malaysia out of South Carolina, Paige Beckers, I think we'd still win, but not with our male college players.
No.
No, it would get ugly, but it lets you know that the other countries, they've really, really caught up for sure.
You mentioned Embiid, or we were talking about LeBron and his durability. Embiid kind of pissed me off. I mean, I'm just frustrated with him as a Sixers fan because it just speaks for itself. You're about numbers.
Why did he piss you off?
Well, he said in a Wall Street Journal article, or maybe it was the New York Times, that, if he hadn't gotten hurt, it's quite possible he could be in the conversation for maybe one of the best players of all time. For me, the best players of all time are durable. And you look at what LeBron is doing, that is why, whether you want him to be number one or Jordan's number one or Magic or Kareem, whoever, but that's why LeBron is a part of those conversations because he's so durable. He's 39 years old. I mean, what he's doing, like you said, is unbelievable. I mean, Embiid just drives me crazy because I can't remember the last time I looked at him and I've been like, wow, he looks like he's just in amazing shape. It's never happened.
I know you don't watch Cam and Mace. Obviously I'm a big fan.
I've seen some stuff. Give me some.
Well, they were talking about him earlier today. They were saying they're accusing Joel Embiid of treason. Hey, you're on our team, but are you really with us? By the way that you've been playing?
Yeah.
What's going on? Obviously, they said it in jest.
I love that. And he was kind of talking down about some of the other guys on the team in a weird way. He could have worded it better. I wasn't there, but yeah, it was different the way that whole article was presented.
Oh, I totally agree. I totally agree for sure. But again, U.S. is going to have a tough time. It's going to be a challenge, but I still think that the chances are good. We're going to win, but it will not be easy at all.
Last question. Should Caitlin Clark have been on the USA women's basketball team?
No. But here's the thing. As you like to say, here's the thing. All right. So the thing about it is that I would say no from a playing standpoint because she's not one of the 12 best players. Is she a hooper? Hell yeah. There's no question, but she's not currently one of the 12 best players. But you're going to hear people say from a marketing standpoint and a business standpoint to get more eyeballs, then she should have been on the team. And I can kind of see that, but I think that now you have when Caitlin Clark, and it's not her fault at all. I think most people now that talk about Caitlin Clark, there's an agenda, behind it. And then it kind of really dilutes, with her play and everything else to where I think that even if she got selected on the team, and let's say if US were up by 30 and she wasn't getting any burn, they would say, oh, well, wait a minute, why is it's almost like a no-lose situation. Yeah. It's almost like a no-lose situation. But I think in 4 more years, I think she should definitely be on the team if she continues her trajectory. Again, her and Angel Reese. Yeah. And Angel Reese. I think both of them are doing really, really well.
It's funny. While you're talking, we can take it back to our own experience. When we were with the Bobcats, they were struggling as an organization, and the move was made, and I guess it was 2005, to take Sean May and Raymond Felton in the same draft.
Oh, yeah, you and I were going at it. I said they should not do that. And you were like, yeah.
You remember I was trying to tell you that Raymond Felton was better than Chris Paul?
I remember. Yeah. Who won that argument, by the way?
You won that argument big time, man. Big time. But then Sean May, too, and we saw not only did it not make a difference from a perception standpoint and a long term, right? Like ticket sales and marketing. It didn't work out on the floor, which is the most consequential place for anything to work out.
Right. And you know what? I know we're kind of deviating a little bit, but you've come a long way because you know what it made me think about? So I remember, was it the 2006 draft when Adam Morrison, got drafted by Charlotte?
Yeah.
And you and I were like talking. I says, well, like, who do you think that the Hornets should draft? And you said like Rudy Gay. I said, well, why Rudy Gay? You said because he remembered me. He remembered me. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Rudy Gay was when I worked at USA Basketball. He was on the Hoop Summit team.
Yeah, I'm like saying to myself, man, it's not a matter of if he's gonna get fired,
but that's not necessarily true because if you remember, we were in that room like at the Westin or whatever hotel, and
you said that,
huh?
You said that.
But hold on, do you remember what I said? I said we drafted Adam Morrison. Michael Jordan owns the team. The Bobcats are effing official. That's what I said. I was pumped.
You said that, and you know what? Because I'm all about accountability. I co-signed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I own that.
I was wrong 3 times, or at least twice in that whole situation. All right, you got anything else? Where can people find strength in numbers and continue to support you guys on this journey? What you're doing is amazing. This certainly won't be the last time I talk about it here.
Oh, for sure. I really do appreciate it. No, but just go to strengthinnumbers.org. So in other words, strength, the word strength, and then like the letter N, and then numbers. So obviously the letter N is going to represent IN. But yes, strength, the letter N, and then numbers. .org.
It's all right there.
Yes. That's it. Do I have time like to ask you just a couple of questions? Or no?
Of course you do. Yes.
Okay. I'm used to like asking questions as well. Trust me, this is not going to put you on the spotlight. With Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, do you have an idea like who do you think should like win like the Rookie of the Year?
Oh, I think Caitlin Clark's a better player. I think time will tell that. I believe.
I'm talking about right now, though. I'm talking about like this year. Like, who do you think should win? Because we're in a break right now. I mean,
let me ask you a question. Help me out. Honestly, okay. I know Angel Reese is playing for Chicago. How is that team doing? Do you know?
Well, if the season were to end today, I believe that the top 8, Indiana would be number 7, and Chicago would be number 8. Both of them would get in.
That's a close call. It really is a close call because Angel Reese has become a force. And both of those.
Was that your answer? It's a close call.
My answer is Caitlin Clark.
Okay, your answer is Caitlin Clark.
Okay. I think that Angel Reese is a little overrated, and here's why. Because I think she was buoyed by what happened with her and Caitlin Clark in the national championship game. I love this about her that she sort of embraces being the villain, and I think if they can continue to face off in the WNBA like they did in college. It could be like a Bird versus Magic scenario, right? Like I really do. I believe that. But I think that she was kind of put onto the scene by her relationship with Caitlin Clark 2 years ago.
I think that helps, but I don't think that clearly that helps, but it does not dilute her as a player. You know why? Because when her and Caitlin Clark played each other, like she won the national championship. And you know me, I'm a numbers guy, right?
Yeah.
Because I hear you, like when you said overrated, and you're totally entitled to your opinion. You're a very smart guy. There's no question about that. But the thing about it is that, Caitlin Clark is leading the WNBA in assists. That's incredible. But Angel Reese is leading the WNBA in rebounding. You can't say that, assists is better. No, you can't say that. Like, she's leading the league in rebounding. And then just like with Caitlin, with leading assists, Caitlin Clark ended up setting a record by having 19 assists not too long ago. Angel Reese went on a double-double streak as well. So again, I think that both of them are playing like remarkably well. I may give the edge to Caitlin, but I like what Monica McNutt said, is that I really think that it may depend on like which team ends up having like the better record.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I truly do believe that because that's what, in my opinion, the MVP is all about,
Exactly. So we're going to see. We're going to see for sure. So, I don't want to put any more pressure on you. So I think that's going to be the only question that I have for you.
You don't have any more?
Well, I could tell you're getting a little nervous. So I want to be very.
Ask me one more question. Ask me one more.
Okay, I have a food question for you.
Okay.
Better burger in your opinion. Obviously, one's more expensive than the other, but just go ahead and just take, the price out. I'm giving you 3 choices, okay? I can't say Cookout because, Cookout is very regional.
That's very regional, yeah.
Right. So, right. But I'm going to give you 3. Okay, you ready? Try to be as non-biased as possible. Strictly the burger. Five Guys, Whataburger, In-N-Out.
In-N-Out.
Okay.
Right away. I like In-N-Out burgers.
Didn't take you long to answer.
No, and because that's that's where my instinct takes me. I will go to In-N-Out over those other places all the time. Now, whether you're good, this is going to blow your mind. You're going to get pissed at me. Whether it's because of the fries that I always go to In-N-Out, that's a reason, but it takes me there. So I would take an In-N-Out burger over those other two.
No, dude, I'm with you. I mean, in terms of like sides make a difference. Just like Thanksgiving, it's all about the sides. But when it comes to French fries, I think that Five Guys by far, they have the best French fries. You think In-N-Out has better fries?
I like In-N-Out's French fries because you can wolf them down and you don't feel incapacitated afterwards. I got one more funny story for you though. I thought you said sides. I thought you said size, right?
No.
My mom, Michael, and I were we were at McDonald's. This is 2 years ago, right? We were in California, and we were at McDonald's. We get our meals, and she just got a cheeseburger, and she takes off the wrapper and she looks at her cheeseburger, right? And it's so small, right? She goes, "My God." Right? She couldn't believe how small it was. Like, I don't know if your mom was like this before she passed, but like, everything, we're always getting robbed now. Like if you open up a bag of Doritos, it's like, this is ridiculous. You know, where is everything else? And they got a point.
I think both things can be true. I think that Miss Terry and my mom, whenever she would go ahead and make a comment, I think they were also right. But I also think that a lot of times people, when they get at a certain age, I think that they kind of feel like they have the right to where they can say anything, no filter, or anything, you know, to whether they're saying, "Hey, like you put on a lot of weight," you know, like, "Hey, are you getting gray?" You know, and like no repercussions. No repercussions, you know. So, but what can you do? What can you do for sure?
John Tobias, ESPN, Strength in Numbers. NBC right now working the Olympics. A professor at UNC-Charlotte where you created a curriculum there and the School of Data Science. Is that correct?
That is correct. And hopefully, next year we will become only the fifth school in the entire country to where you can get a bachelor's degree in sports analytics. So we're gonna remain positive, you know, for sure.
I think there's very good reason to remain positive. JT, I'm gonna let you go. I thank you so much for the time. You know what you mean to me. Well done.
Thank you, my brother. And I appreciate everything that you have done, you know, like as a friend and also with Strength in Numbers by being on the board. You have played an integral part for sure, and let's keep it rolling.
Finally, I get this dude to tell people I'm on the board. I'm on the board.
I wait until the last. You say the best for last. What we doing, dog?
All right, that's it. You're good.
All right, man.
Thank you so much to JT, and thank you so much to Natalie Kalibat Whitten. Pretty cool conversations to have, especially heading into the Olympics, USA basketball. And Natalie gave us a lot of insight on diving and swimming and all things Olympics. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. I never say that. I never ask you guys for anything. Like and subscribe. We've got momentum. We're getting sponsors. We cannot wait for the fall. So, love having you a part of the ride. Thanks for watching.
We are Rogue Media Sports.